You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Now on the Mo Kelly Show, it's Tiffany Hobbs, the viral load. She'll speak of all the viral things social media can bring. Facebook, Insta, X, TikTok, the viral load with Tiffany Hobbs. Viral load, viral load, the viral load. Yeah. Viral load with Tiffany Hobbs.
KFI AM 640. Let's get to it on Later with Mo Kelly, the viral load with Tiffany Hobbs.
Good evening. This week we have 4 stories that have happened anywhere between 1 year ago and 3 years ago, and they're all going viral this week because of the power of the internet and the internet's algorithm. The first story involves a viral meme, and a meme is essentially a picture that may have words on it, some sort of graphic, an image, and it is intended to be shared. Well, this viral meme first was shared in 2021, and you'll see it now because it's very popular. And the reason that I'm talking about it is not due to necessarily the validity of the meme, but why it's being shared now. So in 2021, this meme was shared giving information about what to do if you're lost. So in the event of an emergency or some sort of just happenstance, you're lost while you're hiking or you're lost out on some sort of excursion. It encourages people to use their cell phones to record a voicemail message, a greeting or an away message, essentially, that your then callers would call into and be able to locate you because in that voicemail message, you've then left information about your last known whereabouts. That way you can be tracked. And this was on a meme that was shared far and wide millions of times all across social media. Well, that was 2021. Today, 3 years later, there has been a huge dispute of that information, and it's led by a professional rescue organization called the Alpine Rescue Team that says through their own post that this viral meme in 2021 is absolutely wrong. And that, in fact, the information that's being shared will not only mislead you, but potentially increase the danger that you're already in.
Interesting.
Here's how. They say that advising people to use their voicemail and change that information when lost doesn't really take into account cell phone battery or if your cell phone ends up dying. Because, go ahead, Mo, what were you going to say?
I disagree, because if you have any bit of signal, yes, you would call for help, but you may not have, to the dying battery thing, you may not have enough battery to have a long conversation or repeated attempts. But if you can leave that one message, that will still stay out there, assuming you have any type of signal. Of course, this is all dependent on whether you have a signal.
And that's what the Alpine Rescue Team is asserting, that in the event that you're lost, you may not have a signal. So trying to change your voicemail makes sense, may not necessarily work for you. And you might think that you've done something when in fact you haven't.
Shoot, I'm trying everything.
You're going to try everything, which makes sense. But the Alpine Rescue Team's objective is to arm people with information that they feel is in fact useful. So they're saying instead of looking at this meme that is circulating again in 2024 with information, do a few things. If your battery is low, don't waste its power by calling your voicemail. Call a relative or friend, of course, or of course 911. That is assuming you have cell phone service. They also say if you can't call and your signal is weak, send a text, because often text messages will repeat themselves. They'll try to send even when you put your phone away, because that's just the way in which text service works.
Okay, let me be contrarian here. I know enough about cell phones. Even though you try to send a text, if it does not go through, it's going to keep trying and it's going to further deplete your battery. It really does deplete your battery quicker when it's trying to resend a text over and over and over again. It's something else, something people need to also consider.
And they do note that, and they have other options. Another one they say is stay put. Don't try and go find a place to find service. Stay where you have broken down or where you've gotten lost. That way people can try and find you where, again, the last known ping from your cell phone signal may have tracked. And then, of course, maximize your battery life. Try to turn off anything that you don't need to use, and don't use your phone for unnecessary things like playing games or trying to busy yourselves. So it just really speaks again to how something can come back years later, go viral again, and how after that new viral sensation basically has peaked or shown itself, you might have dissenters. You might have people who are in fact contrarian, and they come out with new information to refute or validate the existing meme.
Well, I'm not going to try to get lost to prove anyone right or wrong. So I'll just go ahead and stay my ass in an area where I'm not likely to get lost.
Really quick, we're going to move to a story that's a little bit ahead in our stack because the story before this comes with audio. So there's a TikTok video about a woman who is mourning her husband's death. That video went viral a little while ago, a few weeks ago. But what's happening now is that after that original video was posted about this young mother mourning the sudden death of her husband, she was 28, he was 31. The woman, the widow in question, has come out and said that basically she's going to continue living her life, and quote, people were asking her first, why are you not so sad? Why are you just seeming to go on with your life? She said, quote, because he's not my God, because one guy dying isn't going to ruin the rest of my life. And that quote, that post from this young widow who is mourning her husband's death has gone viral, as you can imagine, with people being very critical, some feeling that it's, again, valid, and some feeling that it might be piling on a bit too much because of how she is managing the death of her husband. It really does, again, speak to, of course, the subjectivity of mourning. I know we did just speak and have that. You had that wonderful segment in the previous segment about assisted suicide. This isn't that, but it definitely deals with death. And so I found that it was relevant. So I wanted to skip to it. She's going viral again because people are basically projecting their ideas of what mourning should entail upon her. And she is fighting back and refuting and saying that people are in her face saying what she's supposed to do and what she should expect. But no, this is her life, and she is living her life by her standards, which means that she's not going to sit around mourning her husband because, quote, he's one guy, and one guy dying isn't going to ruin the rest of her life. And she posted that on a TikTok video.
I don't know what to say about that. I have some misgivings about, one, posting it, two, getting your butt on your shoulders when people, I would say rightfully so, question your logic in why you posted it, how you feel about it, how dismissive you are in posting it.
Absolutely.
You know, all I know is she's lucky that we got to go to a break because I was getting ready to cuss her out too. It's Later with Mo Kelly. The second half of the Viral Load will be up in just a moment.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Now it's time for the Viral Load with Tiffany. Live on KFI's Later with Mo Kelly. She'll talk about the top hits on social media. The Viral Load with Tiffany Hobbs.
KFI, Mo Kelly, Tiffany Hobbs, The Viral Load, Part 2. Take it away.
Okay, so this is a truly heartwarming story. Thanks to the kindness of a stranger, a woman is now able to hear the voice of her deceased mother for the first time in 25 years. And this story actually broke a year plus ago, and it is back, which is what I started off by saying. These are stories that we are revisiting essentially because they're going viral for new reasons. Well, in this case, the young woman, Hannah Nieder, always treasured the photos that she had of her mom. And her mom died in 1995 at the age of 35 due to suicide. Her mother did, in fact, take her own life. At the time, Hannah Nieder was 11 years old. And after her mother passed away, all she had were the pictures. She didn't have any recollection of her voice in recorded form. And as she got older, she started to lose what her mother's voice sounded like. Well, out of the blue, about a year ago, Hannah got a Facebook message from a stranger. And this woman, the stranger, identified herself as Valerie Bradshaw, who said that she had found in her own possession a cassette tape, an old school cassette tape in her home in Sussex, England. Now, the decades-old tape actually contained content, including an interview from Hannah Nieder's mother, Lawrence. The woman, the stranger, was a teacher at the time and had conducted the interview back in 94 for her dissertation and had interviewed Hannah Nieder's mother, Lawrence, because she felt that she could contribute to that dissertation. Well, all these years later, the woman found that, this tape was just, again, collecting dust, and she wanted to maybe see if the person was still alive. So she went on social media. She went on Facebook looking for Lawrence, this woman named Lawrence. And Bradshaw, the stranger, the kind stranger, was able to make contact with Hannah Nieder on Facebook through the virality of the posts. The posts caught fire and people shared them far and wide. And because of that, it did make its way to Lawrence's daughter, Hannah Nieder. So now we're talking about this because even though this happened a year ago, it is going viral, where that Hannah Nieder has been gifted this cassette tape with her mother's voice. And for the first time, again, since she was 11 years old, 25 years ago, when her mother took her life, she was able to hear her mother in full continuity, just having conversations. And Hannah Nieder said that the best thing about hearing her mom was her laugh, that she had forgotten that laugh and that it was back.
It's so interesting. I am completely different. I remember all the voices. I remember, obviously, my father's voice. I remember all my grandparents' voices. My mother's father passed in 1986. I remember his voice like it was just yesterday. Maybe because I'm musically inclined and sounds ring very specific in my mind. Mm-hmm. That's something I don't lose. I find myself having difficulty remembering what certain people looked like, more so than the sound of their voice. I remember all my grandparents, the three that I met, one passed before I was born. I remember all their voices, and that's something that I find when I hear that story. Like my wife, she lost her mother about 6 months after I lost my father, and she was desperate to find copies of her mother's voice. Wow. But for me, that has never been a thing. So it's always been it's intriguing to me because that's something I never had to worry about losing.
Yeah. And I don't think that this woman, Hannah Nieder, had really took it into account until she was gifted the voice of her mother. But now that she has it, she treasures it. And she says that she listens to it and she is able to reminisce. So it's a beautiful story.
It is. And I know the power of that, of memories just like that. Very, very powerful.
Absolutely. The next story and last story, not so beautiful. It involves a plane, an iPhone charger, theft, and TikTok. And before we get into it, I'll give you a quick little synopsis. An Apple charger was stolen.
Good for them.
It was all recorded and uploaded to TikTok, which produced this wonderful soundbite. Hit it, Steph.
Excuse me. Did you take my charger?
Yeah.
Why would you take my charger?
Because we got off the flight.
Yeah, but my charger, that's my charger. Why would you take it?
You're going to get it back. Give me 1
But why
second.
would you take it, though, without permission?
Because nobody was on the flight, bro.
Yeah, but that's my charger.
And you're getting it back.
Okay, can I have it?
Give me 1
Yeah,
second.
but don't steal things. You can't take things without asking.
When nobody is on the flight, it's...
Oh, you...
Yeah.
Look, the conversation would not have lasted that long. It would have been, give me my mother, father charger now.
And that's it.
That's the end of the discussion.
That's it.
Well, give me just a second. No.
And she says, well, you left it. So what? Basically, ... And as you heard, they go back and forth and the video continues on for a bit. Other people kind of intervene and tell both sides to calm down. The man eventually does get his charger back. His name is Ed. She does kind of give it to him. She kind of dangles it in front of him, and he uploaded the footage to TikTok. He says, TikTok's going to make you famous. In fact, that's what happened. This happened a year ago, and it's making its rounds now on the viral circuit. And of course, because people are seeing it, the young woman, Vanessa Clover, took to her own TikTok to offer an explanation.
Too late.
Give her side. It's too late. And then her explanation was then countered by Ed coming back again and saying, I'm doubling down. This is what happened. And then fourth video was released with Vanessa again coming back and saying, you know what? We all just should have calmed down and
There's only one thief. Hey, we. It's like you just
calm down.
Let's say someone jacked you, took your car, and you happen on that person like, hey, give me my car back. Hey, why don't we just all calm down, take a breath? Okay, I just need it for a minute. I'm just running to the store. I'm going to 7-Eleven. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a Metro bus over there. Okay, you'll be fine.
Go hijack that. That's it. That's all we have. That's enough.
That was plenty. A lot for a viral load.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And I am a confirmed Halle Berry fan. Just to reset, I had met her any number of times. Her second husband, Eric Benet, vocal artist, good friend of mine. He was on Warner Brothers Records. I was working at Warner Brothers Records. When they first started dating, Halle would come by all the time. So we had a chance to see her, hang out with her for over the period of months. There was one night, if you ever see a picture of me and Halle, not name dropping or humble bragging, I'm just giving you context. It was taken at her house because, we would spend so much time around her. So I have a degree of familiarity with who she was, at least back then. And one of the nicest people you will ever want to meet. She's very open. She is very giving. She's very sincere. Met her mother, and I'll tell this one little story very quickly, and Tiffany, you'll probably get a kick out of this. Do you remember when she had this car accident?
Yes, I do.
When I went to her house tonight, she was so open because she was going through it at that time. To give you time, she was very willing to open up and tell me her side of that. Introduced me to her mother. She's just a very open and giving person, and I think to a fault, and people use that against her. Say that all to say, when I saw this revelation, she is again offering a lot of information. And I say, yeah, if you know her, if you've ever been around her, that's who she is. She's very genuine. And she opened up in recently talking about what she was doing as a young actress in the industry. She's 58 now. And she made her film debut back in 1991 in the Spike Lee movie Jungle Fever. And she was playing the girlfriend, the drug-addicted girlfriend, opposite of Samuel L. Jackson, who was playing Gator. If you want to look it up, the very compelling, believable drug scenes. And she made it clear that she had no experience with drug use, and she had grown up in an environment where there were no narcotics. So it was completely foreign to her. But in a recent interview, she told that in the movie 1995 movie Losing Isaiah, where she also played someone else who was drug addicted, she wanted to make sure that she had a reference point for playing that character. And she actually went to the lengths of trying crack and visiting multiple crack houses. Damn. Now, there's method acting and there's method acting. It makes sense, if only because Halle Berry has been very serious, always been very serious about her acting. And even though people may try to take shots at her for her acting or her wigs or her movies over the years, she has always been very serious about her craft. If you're going to give her any credit, give her credit for that. And I was talking about, I've been around her any number of times. It's like, I didn't know that. And obviously not a lot of people knew that. And she didn't feel comfortable with sharing that publicly. And to find out, look, there's certain things that I would do for money. There are a lot of things I would not do for money. I'll give you a perfect example. If someone said, Mo, we got this perfect role for you and you're going to do this, that, and the other, but you have to say the N word, I would not do the role ever under any circumstances. And that's a true story. Working in this business, you always have to have the internal dialogue with yourself about what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do to either become famous, become recognized, or become wealthy. And for a while, I was dabbling with acting. So I kind of know you still have to have that conversation. And I've never done any drugs, not any hard drugs. I've had maybe half of a marijuana joint, and that was with a Coke can, if you know how that works. And half of an edible in my life. That's it. Never done Molly, never done ecstasy. Sure as hell would never, ever consider doing crack for the sake of a role.
I think when Lee Strasberg created method acting, he didn't want the emphasis to be on the first syllable. Come on, Foosh. Come on, Foosh.
Give it to him. We'll wait. He wasn't even thinking you were going to be funny tonight.
It's a little slow. What if you were offered a high-paying feature film role that involved you having a love scene with Foosh?
No. You know what? In fact, I probably wouldn't be a good actor because I have too many hang-ups. And the whole idea of just doing, I know it's acting and everything, but I don't think I could pull off certain things. Like, for example, if they had hired me, and I'm being really serious and transparent, if they hired me for Jake Gyllenhaal's role in Brokeback Mountain, I couldn't pull it off. I couldn't pull it off. They're just.
Heath Ledger wasn't your type?
Yeah, Heath Ledger wasn't my type. I'm saying there's certain roles I don't think I can be authentic enough.
You and Sinatra. Yep.
No, and also look, if I were ever to pop up in a movie, it would probably be a romantic comedy or an action movie. I don't have a lot of range. That's part of it. It's not going to be in a full-blown love story of any kind.
So an action movie then? You fancy yourself an action star? Like
yes.
Walking away from an explosion in slow motion?
In slow motion with it blowing up behind me.
Or
all
like
of
a
that.
buddy cop movie. I could see that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you're with your partner in a car and the two of you look at each other and go, ah!
Something like that.
Okay.
Something like that. The slow motion, the car is going over the jump and everything. Yeah. All of that. That's me. That's who I am.
Oh, we can see that. Yes.
Okay. But look, I'm not going to do the whole method acting thing and go to a place which is just not in me. I can't pull it off. That's why I probably never could be all that good at acting. But and also with Halle Berry, going back to her, she said that she went days without brushing her teeth or bathing to get in the mindset of someone who was only obsessed with drugs and would forsake everything else.
If you
remember I said I said I couldn't even deal with going into the forest and being a survivalist, or I'd have trouble watching movies where I could see, like we were talking about the Rebel Ridge movies, like that guy hadn't have a shower in terms of his character throughout the whole movie. And I was thinking throughout the whole movie on Netflix, this guy hasn't even had a shower. I could not even method act not taking a shower or brushing my teeth for 3-4 days.
I can see that. There's an apocryphal story. I don't know if it's true or not, about the shooting of Marathon Man, the Dustin Hoffman movie, where he tries to get in character by running around a park and being all out of breath for a scene. And Laurence Olivier tells him, my boy, instead, why don't you just try acting?
Yeah. It's true, but it doesn't work for everyone. And I can respect those actors who go to such lengths. Like I hear stories about Johnny Depp. He will stay in character throughout the entirety of a movie shoot. Don't call him by his real name. Wonderful. Great. I'm just not built that way. And going back to Halle Berry, I have a newfound respect for her and dedication to her craft. I'm always of the opinion, be a student of your craft, be dedicated to your craft. There's just certain lines I'm just not going to cross. I'm not going to do it. So you don't have to worry about me ending up in Rambo 8 to some soldier out in the bush for a week. You will not find me in that role. Okay.
No bug eating.
No, like they had in Rebel Ridge. That was bug eating and stuff.
Yeah.
No.
Your crickets aren't so bad.
Look, true story. Tawala can eat the crickets. I'm not eating that stuff. I'm not. There's not enough money out there.
And no Brokeback Mountain 2.
Well, at least not starring me. Now,
Okay.
You know, if it could be Jake Gyllenhaal and you, Heath Ledger, he's unfortunately no longer with us. But
I don't have the same hangups as you, so if it pays well, put me down.
Let's get him on the phone then.
He probably says the N-word too. See, you asked for that.
Did you just call me a cracker? I swear I just heard that.
See, that's how it starts. That was Mark.
Replay the tape,
Ronner.
Foosh. I swear he said it.
Mark Ronner. I do not condone that type of
there's
language.
a sequel coming up.
I know that I don't use that type of language either on the air or in my private life. It's not in my language or lexicon. That was Mark Ronner. Please send all hate mail to @MarkRonner on any and all social media.
At Mr. Mo Kelly, that all comes to me.
KFI AM 640. We are live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. Oh, you feel pretty good about yourself, don't you, Mark?
I need a minute.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And before we get out of here, have to remind you a couple of things. It's Halloween time at the Disneyland Resort. It's Halloween time, and KFI AM 640 wants to give you a chance to experience the frightful fun. Happiest Halloween has brought fiendishly tasty treats, thrills for one and all, and beautiful decor to both Disney California Adventure Park and Disneyland Park. Going on now through Halloween, October 31st. Keep listening to KFI and keep listening to Later with Mo Kelly, most importantly, for your chance to win a 4-pack of one-day, one-park tickets to the Disneyland Resort. I can't make it any more obvious than that. Keep listening to Later with Mo Kelly for your chance to win a 4-pack of one-day, one-park tickets to the Disneyland Resort. And before we get out of here, I have a lot of fun with Mark Ronner, and for those who may not know or understand our weird dynamic, I love this man like a natural born brother.
Don't you make me cry.
I don't want you to cry. I'm just saying, we have a weird on-air relationship that you don't understand unless you knew us off air. I mentioned that because the other night I was texting you. It was well after midnight because I want to make sure you were off, I believe. Mm-hmm. And it was a continuation of a conversation where I've said on air, I like to go back and rewatch movies from my childhood.
Oh, yeah. You always see things differently.
Yeah. And I was watching because we had an on-air conversation about the 1968 version of the movie, the original version of the Thomas Crown Affair.
Masterpiece.
And and I was watching it, looking at Steve McQueen through very different eyes. My father introduced me to Steve McQueen with the movie Bullet.
You could do a lot worse than that, I tell you. What a great movie to see with your dad.
Great.
I am envious of that.
Great. And it obviously, if you know anything about car chases, and if you love anything about a good car chase, that was the seminal car chase of all car chases.
Top 10, easily.
All traces back to that. Point is, because I was exposed to Steve McQueen through that movie, it got me interested in seeing his other movies. Yes, I saw the Thomas Crown Affair as a kid, but to watch it again as an adult with a greater appreciation of cinema, a greater appreciation of subtlety of acting, and also, I'll say filming techniques. This movie by Norman Jewison was so damn good. I don't think it will ever get its due acclaim from the way it was shot, the double box, the different letter boxes, to even the score by Michel Legrand. If you know the movie, there is this chess scene which is so beautifully shot, and the music score underneath it is so gorgeous. If you do nothing else tonight, go to YouTube and look up the chess game Thomas Crown Affair. And you'll be able to see what I saw. Watch the whole scene, how it lays out. It is subtle and on the nose at the same time. There's a lot of metaphor going on there, a lot of innuendo going on. But listen to how the music score makes that scene perfect.
You're not touching me with your, quote, bishop, okay?
No, but the rook was sticking out.
Now, Jewison went on right after that, or at least not long after that, to do Rollerball. What a run that guy had.
Oh, my goodness. And I was looking up, he died relatively recently. I want to think like maybe the past 5 years or so.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
If I'm not mistaken, or maybe that was Michel Legrand. But, I'm like my own DVD add-on where I'll watch a movie and I'm Googling the actors and the people connected to it to get background information, see where they are now, see if they're still living, maybe find something else I didn't know about the movie. So I had a good time, and I was texting you back and forth about the majesty of that movie. I so much more appreciate that movie now. And no disrespect to Pierce Brosnan, but I'm sorry, he could not fill up the screen in the same way that Steve McQueen did. He was fabulous, and he did it with virtually nothing because you didn't have the special effects and the filming tricks that they had back then.
Yeah, and I mentioned this to you subsequently, which is that the Pierce Brosnan version of that movie is very respectable, and it's very well made, and he's good in it. But McQueen had something a little dangerous about him that Brosnan has never had. Brosnan's an attractive man and a former male model or whatever the hell he is. McQueen had a little rough trade side to him that makes you understand why the female investigator character in that movie could do something so stupid and fall for him.
But he had the screen appeal where you literally couldn't keep your eyes off of him.
And you say you won't be in a Brokeback Mountain sequel? It's got to be one or the other, okay?
I didn't say I wanted to sleep with them. I'm saying that he was so compelling. And if you know the movie, there are a lot of close-ups of his eyes. He has piercing blue eyes. And you could see the subtleties in his acting, eye twitches, darting of the eyes. It's like, gosh, this guy was so damn good.
He really was, and that movie played to his strengths. He was an actor, like we've used the term, limited range, and that was a good role for him. My favorite Steve McQueen role is The Getaway. Have you seen The Getaway in a while?
I need to see that one again. Maybe I'll see it tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there's parts of The Getaway that probably wouldn't fly these days. Very much a thing of its time. Sam Peckinpah movie. That is really good.
So if you're listening right now, your homework assignment is to go Google or go to YouTube, look up the chess game, the Thomas Crown Affair. You'll thank me for it after it. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Well, at least you've decided to listen to KFI. See, you're making progress.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio.